I'm James Haskell, London Wasps and England Rugby player. I've got 50 caps for my country. Hopefully I'll get some more, but I've been doing rugby for the last 10 years. I've played around the world. I've lived in Paris, Japan and New Zealand of all places. I've also got a fitness business, jhbodyfire.com, which is an online fitness hub where we give nutrition tips, fitness tips. I've got a supplement range that backs everything up. And I'm also a bit of a techie geek as well. I've got my iPhone, my Samsung phone, my Mac laptop. I spend all my money on technology, and I try and incorporate that in the things we do in terms of creating people's training programs, obviously monitoring, collecting data. People who record their data more than 2 or 3 times are much more likely to keep doing that and keep progressing. So that's something that I firmly believe in. Some of my earliest memories of using technology when I first started playing, it's interesting because the technology always entered the arena in the nutrition side. So, you know, we've always had our bloods taken, our heart rate monitored, you know, simple things like body fats. We've tried, you know, people have tried different methods of using electronic body fat measuring. This technology, as my career has progressed greatly. You know, we're up to the point now where we're using GPS vests that track our every movement. We're recording data. Some guys are asked to wear watches to sleep in that track their sleep records, their kind of their calorie intake and calorie burn, and then it's obviously reviewed. But again, with the technology, when I first started playing, it was relatively simple. It might have just been as easy as wearing a heart rate monitor, working with a piece of fixed machinery, but they are constantly trialing new and exciting things the whole time. One thing that I use myself, which I think I'll mention, is something called Firefly, which is essentially these 2 units you strap onto the outside of your legs. They pulse electrical current through your muscles, aid in recovery. You know, what people forget is they become obsessed with training, but they forget recovery. And if your circle of training gets bigger, your circle of recovery needs to match that. And as a professional rugby player with a short turnaround, you need to focus on your recovery. So that's one element we really use. Things like game readies. These are ice machines. I'm led to believe that the NBA supply all the Miami Heat, for example, supply all their players with game readies, portable ice machines that you put cuffs on various parts of your body, circulates cold water and compression. To talk as a team, every player has an iPhone app on their phone or their iPad. The England management fire out the data to the guys, covering training, reviews, nutritional information, and it's all accessible. So it's a sort of a central hub for them to review data. And then you've got simple things as watt bikes. Watt bikes are, for any of you fitness fanatics out there will know, horrific piece of equipment, very, very difficult to use. You put 8 in a row, you plug them into a screen, you've got a visual race. Rugby players are naturally competitive, so is everyone else. So you're able to race, check, you know, your wattage, how far you've gone, how far you've raced your individuals with characters racing across the screen. It's a novelty, but you know, it's surprising how guys will race harder when they can visually see what they're doing, and that's sort of human nature, really. Obviously, being in a privileged position of being a professional sportsman where people are looking at you as a commodity, it's very interesting that a lot of technology we use is not so far removed from the technology that is available on the high street, albeit slightly more advanced. You know, and for us as a rugby player, if you imagine a lot of technology stuff filters down from the military, it's only imagine what they have, then what sports people have, and then what the consumer has. You know, there's very difference between them, with people being able to track their GPS, track their heart rates. It's just how advanced and how tied in it is. And I think that as technology advances, the more stuff we get, the more stuff it's going to filter down. And the thing is, the consumer has a desire for the professional equipment. You know, no one wants any simple anymore. They want complicated. They want what everyone else has got, and that will just keep building and building and building. The Nike FuelBand, that's interesting. You know, people always talk about their I think it's their fuel points, or you know, to track it to see how they've reached their target. You know, again, it's pretty intangible as to what they are as an individual, but people like to have goals. That application for bicycles, for people who are mad about cycling, I think it's called Strava. They're mad for it. You know, people are going to work and they're racing against other people they've never met before to set targets, to set goals, to check how many calories they're burning, to see if they can, you know, beat the records for that particular course. That's in human nature. People always want to get better, and I think the technology is always presenting that in an easier, more accessible way the more advanced it gets. If you look at My Coach, you know, you've got a little unit that fits in your shoe. You've now got it's compatible with watches. You've got it compatible with iPhone applications and Android applications. people being able to track their activity, the number of steps they've taken, how fast they run, how, you know, be able to map it via GPS, see where they went. People just love to present data, share it with their friends, share it on social media. And again, for me, if I was going to take it back to anything that's really key, is I like the idea of the heart rate monitor. It's simple, it's effective. If you understand what your thresholds are, it's a great way to show that you've actually, you know, you've made a physical change that day for training. You know, we use them with the England team especially. They have 5 categories. Level 5 is you've made a massive fitness change. 1 or 2 you haven't. So you get a good guide. You know, if you're feeling knackered after 1 and 2, then you need to address your training. And that kind of information is power. It's as simple as that. And for a person training, wanting to change their physique, it's essential. We're also in the generation of I want to call it like the tough mudder generation now. People are in offices and buildings are collaborating together, tying together, taking on triathlons, taking on Ironmen, taking on this tough mudder stuff. People are wanting to get involved, and big technology companies, big sports brands are looking at this and realising that their very own staff are getting involved in health and fitness, that everyone is attending the gym. Everyone wants to become their own little Tour de France rider on the way to work. So this is a marketplace where people are hungry and everyone is trying to get involved in it in different arenas. You know, you've got a multitude of different applications now available on iTunes covering, you know, simple body camp, boot camp apps that you are able to, you know, to follow, go out in the park. You see all this military fitness now. Every sector has created its own version of something, and now you look at the likes of Nike, Adidas, these guys are cottoning onto it. Not only is it good enough to make the shoes, make the kit, they want to influence your training, they want to get involved because their consumers want it. And if they're going elsewhere, it's ridiculous. Why would they, you know, why not create something that you control holistically? You look after them so they get their equipment from you, they get their training advice from you. It's the perfect recipe.